Greetings, students. This is Mrs. Lancaster, and today, before you get into Chapter 2, I wanted to talk about something that is extremely important in databases, particularly in Access databases, and that is the relationships you will set up between the fields within your tables. And why that's important is because we are going to store our data in a way that is easy to update, easy to keep accurate. And to do that, we need our data to be separated into multiple tables. And let me show you why. This is not Chapter 2, and it's not something that you're going to have to deal with, but I'm going to show you these relationships, and also want to show you a couple of queries that will help you on Chapter 2. So first of all, if you get confused or you're having difficulty figuring out how to set up a relationship, the first thing you always want to do is to look at your data. So if we open Table Client, you can see that we have the client information, address, city, state, zip, phone number, and so forth and so on. And we also have pets. This is a dog walking service. And so clients can have one or more pets. But you notice we don't want to save the data on all the clients for each pet over and over and over again. So we've got the client, we're storing their data one time. We've got pets where we only store the client number, which is the primary key in the table client. And it is a foreign key in table pet. Similarly, we have the walk times. We don't want to store every pet with all the walk times, because what if we have to update the pets? We would have to update them in multiple tables. And then we have our walkers. Again, we don't want to store all of the first name and last name of our walkers in table pet. Instead, we store that foreign key. So what do these relationships look like? Click on Database Tools and Relationships, and let's look at it. First of all, as we said, client number is the primary key for table client. If we have that key in any other tables, we can go back and find the last name, first name, address, city, state, and zip. And this is where your queries come in. You want information about the client and about the pet and about the walker and maybe the time, and you have to have a way to link that data together. So if we need to update something about the client, like their address, we only have to update it one time. Similarly, we've got pet number or P number in table pet as our primary key. And we don't have to store all of the data about the pet for every time we want to look at the client. And you can see here we've got client number, which is a foreign key, meaning it links back to a primary key in table pet. We also have the walker number, and that leads us to the walk table walker so that we can get the first and last name of our walker. And the same is true with our code for the walk time. So this is how you get the query, is what makes the relationships and the queries are what makes Access so powerful. You can slice and dice your data, do formulas, do functions, do greater than, less than, do calculations, find the sum, find the average of all of the data within Microsoft Access. So if we want to look at a query that's similar to what you're going to be doing in Chapter 2, let's look at, this Edmond area. Edmond is one of the cities. If we look in Design View, notice your criteria line. This data all comes from Table Client, and we only want the city of Edmond. Here is one that's even more similar to what you're going to be doing in Chapter 2. We needed the client information, so notice here we've got the pet table, and we have our table client. And the relationship that you already set up is there. Notice it's a one-to-many relationship. That's what that little double circle means. One-to-many. We have one client, but we can have many pets. So we store the client information once, but we can have many pets over here per client. So now we needed the last name and first name from table client, and we wanted the client number count here to be 3 or greater than 3. So clients that have 3 or more pets, and that's what you're going to get from there. Notice it's using the totals row. So we're grouping by last name, we're grouping by first name, and we're counting the number of client numbers in table pet that equal the client number in table client. So we're counting and looking for people that have 3 or more pets. Now, when you get into Chapter 2, you're only going to have 3 relationships, and I've shown you those in the next video that you'll see there in D2L. So remember, relationships are the most important thing you can do. You've got to get those relationships set up right. And if you don't think they're right, for example, if you've built a query and you get no data, more than likely it's a problem with your relationships. And you're going to want to post that in our Q&A forum within D2L and let me take a look. And if you can't figure it out, can't figure out how to ask a question, always zip me your database and email it to me, and I will walk you through and then give those answers back to you in an email and then in our Q&A forum. So if you have any questions or problems, always reach out to me.